UFC 318 fight week, and we got Dustin The Diamond Poirier, my all-time favorite fighter, a legend, one of the best MMA boxers of all time, and now we got him facing the BMF champion, Max Holloway, one of the best boxers of all time as well. This is the third fight in a trilogy that Poirier has already won. The first two fights, even though they were both young at 145, and Max took the second fight for the interim belt on short notice. And Holloway has looked a lot better at lightweight, so I'm going to make my picks, break down the fights, and hopefully get all of them right when I'm watching this weekend, and hopefully to get y'all to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and maybe gain some traction here on the platform. So let's just go ahead and get right into the fights, and hopefully I don't look absolutely regarded. Okay, we got a banger for you guys. Open up the card. We got Carly Judice versus Nicole Cagliari. Now, guys, listen here. If y'all want a really in-depth breakdown of this inside foot battle of a century, go ahead and subscribe to my OnlyFans for a Technical Tuesday breakdown of one of the best main card openers we have ever seen here in the UFC, guys. Wow. I just can't believe we are getting this fight here. It's insane. So I'm going to go with Judice over Cagliari. And Judice is coming off a KO head kick win where she actually looked like, she knew how to, throw strikes and stuff. And Cagliari lost her debut to a absolute can. I think she's from like Estonia or something. And yeah, if y'all want the really in-depth breakdown of the fight, I recommend y'all go ahead and subscribe to my OnlyFans so y'all can get a great breakdown. And Judice just has a huge size advantage, and yeah, she looks like she kind of knows how to fight, so I'm going to take her for sure. Moving on to the next fight, I actually think this is going to be a pretty good fight. I know this is a debut, and I'm pretty sure it's on short notice. And he's taking on Bruno Ferreira. He's a marauder. He's a big old marauder. He's short and stout. And McVeigh's not that bad. He's just not that athletic. Doesn't use his range as much as a 6'4" guy should use it in the middleweight division. And Bruno Ferreira, he has solid boxing, strong leg kicks, strong base. It's hard to take him down. And I think he's just going to, break over the reach. And I think he's going to KO him in the round of one. Yeah, round one KO for Bruno Ferreira. Yeah, it's pretty easy breakdown. Honestly thought about taking McVeigh, but I looked at the guys he fought on Tapology, and they just didn't look that good. And I know he's 6-0, but Ferreira has done pretty decent in the UFC. He's gonna have that UFC experience, and I think it'll just be I think there may be a feeling out period where you're like, oh, McVeigh, this guy's not too bad, and then he's just gonna get caught on the back foot, and Ferreira's gonna knock him out cold. That's my prediction. Moving on to Ryan Spann and Lucas Bresky. Now, let's talk about this fight for a second. Bresky has fought tubby heavyweights, and he's kind of a skinnier heavyweight, and he just looked trash against them all, and just looked bad against slow, big old boys. And I don't see much there. Ryan Spann, I know he's so hit or miss. He's impossible to predict fights for sometimes, because sometimes he'll show up and knock out Dominic Reyes and look like a freak of nature. Then sometimes he don't even show up and acts like he wants to fight. But even on an off day, I think Ryan Spann at least 29-28 but I think Spann knocks him out in round two. Bresky's tough, and God, these fights are so one-sided for the most part. Yeah, but I think Spann easily knocks him out. Very Very early in the second round, I say. I bet he puts it on him in the first round and kind of wilts him a little bit, and then round two, early stoppage. Probably actually TKO. Bresky's pretty tough, but Span can crack. If he hits you and he's on his game, you're going to sleep, man. And I hope we see that because I like these light heavyweights coming up, and I think Span could honestly, if he fights, like we've seen him fight in other fights, actually good and acted like he wants to be there, I think he could crack the top 15 pretty easily in the heavyweight division because they are just, yeah, that's a different video to make. Moving on, we got Marcin Pacino, sorry, against Jimmy Crute. Yeah, this is kind of easy for me. I'm going to take Jimmy Crute by decision. Jimmy Crute he looked pretty solid in his early fights at light heavyweight, and he's kind of taken a downturn. But I think the skills are there to be at least above a mid in the light heavyweight division. And he's only beat cans Martin, and I don't think Crute's a complete can. He's fought like a can a couple times, but just like we've seen with Jake Matthews against Chidi Njokuani, them Aussies for the most part, they're all of them like they bounce back well. There's a solid gym system there, and I just think Jimmy Crute has the physical, athletic, and skill advantage pretty much everywhere. Martin, I'm gonna call him Martin. I can't say his last name. He's not horrible, but I just don't see any path of victory for him here. So I'm going to take Crute by decision. I'd like to see a finish by Crute, but it's hard for me to pick him to finish. Just because his last fight was a draw against Bellato, slow poke. And it's hard for me to pick him to finish, but I'd love to see a finish here, and that'd be great to see. Who doesn't want to see a finish? I thought about something else. I just have more trust in Jimmy Crute to get it done, and I love the Australian boys, Aussie. I love the Aussies with mullets. The Americans in the UFC are kind of taking a downturn right now, and an Australian with a mullet really represents the boys quite in a good way. So I'd like to see him win here. I will be rooting for Crute. I root for Crute because I think he has potential. He could be something decent. Moving on, we got Islam Dulatov. He's been a pretty touted prospect. Oh my gosh, get this away. Taking on Adam Fugit, who, in my opinion, is an absolute can. He's not good at all. I don't know how he's still in the UFC, personally. But, we got Dulatov. He looked pretty good in his Contender Series win. I just rewatched it. He's strong, physical, decent everywhere we've seen. He didn't fight in the best regional promotions coming through the pipeline and such, but all finishes, all wins. Fugit, oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, his best win is like a win over, I think, Josh Klunian, and it was a split decision. I don't remember watching that fight live. I don't know who would. But I think Dulatov gets it done by knockout. I'm going to go first round. Fugit gets hit hard, like a lot. Not a great chin, and I think Dulatov can crack him pretty early and puts him away, by knockout. Maybe not the first round, but I hope Dulatov looks good. It'd be nice to have another guy to hate. Moving on to the real prelims, Gautier and Valentin. I'm going Gautier. He seems to improve pretty decently. And Valentin, I don't think he's very good at all. He lost to Ryan Loder and Torres Finney, and they pretty much just out athleticised him, and out just better physicality. And Gautier fights very physical. Seems to improve, has solid power. And I just don't see of a good win for Valentin to win anywhere, honestly. Like I said, a lot of these early fights are very one-sided. I don't think there'll be much competition. Most of it's just going to be more athletic, stronger, bigger guys beating up. Oh, this is my fat cat, Doug. Hold on. I think it'll just be these more athletic, stronger guys getting wins over guys who are not that good at all. So, yeah, that's why I'm going with Gautier. Not much to say about this one, honestly. Yeah, moving on. Francisco Prado and Nikolai Vertikanov. I'm going Prado. He hasn't looked great in the UFC, but he looked decent in his losses against Zellhuber and I can't think of the other name. He looked decent. He didn't look like super horrible in those. And Nikolai, again, I don't think he's good anywhere. I think Prado's going to be faster, more crisp, and on the feet, I just think he'll be able to tee off on him. I don't think Nikolai has really any defense except a high guard, So, yeah, we're going to go with Prado to get it done. Probably decision. I'm not for sure, honestly, in a fight like this. Yeah, he's quicker, probably a lot better footwork. Prado looked decent against his loss against Jake Matthews. That's right. He looked decent. Like I said, not fully outclassed, but yeah, he's just better, I think. Maybe Nikolai takes him down, grinds at him, gets some decent positions. Maybe that happens, but I don't see it happening. I see Prado just being too fast and just too crisp on the feet for him. Moving on, finally, some decent fights. Like some of those, like the names you want to see do good, but like they're not the best fights you've ever seen. Marvin Vettori, Brendan Allen. It's a crime that this is on the prelims. Sorry. It's a crime that this is on the prelims. It should be on the main card. Michael Johnson and Zellhuber would be a perfect prelim feature fight, but instead this is. I'm excited for this fight, honestly. I'm a Vettori fan. I'd say I'm somewhat of a Brendan Allen fan as well, but I kind of thought about this a little longer than I probably should have, but I'm going Brendan Allen. I'll probably be rooting for Vettori because he's hilarious and Italian, and I wish I was Italian. But yeah, I think Brendan could finish him off his back even. I think Brendan's jiu-jitsu is actually, in submission game, is very good, especially for middleweight. I know Vettori, he can have strong top pressure and stuff, but I think Brendan Allen's going to be a little slippery snake for him, I could see him winning this off his back by a triangle choke, maybe an arm bar, but Vettori just looked horrible against Roman Dolidze, which I hate to say. Like I said, I'll be rooting for Vettori, but I think Brendan Allen keeps it at distance easily, even on the feet. Brendan Allen, he looked pretty solid against Fluffy. He just couldn't get out from under him, but I don't think Vettori has that same pedigree of cardio and pressure as a guy like Fluffy Hernandez, who I actually met at UFC 317. Really nice guy, by the way. Also met Sarah Safari. JK. No! We don't do that with women here. That's bad. Christ is king. Anyways, yeah, I think Brendan Allen on the feet keeps it at distance. It'll be hard to find Vettori's chin. He for sure won't knock him out. We know about Vettori's chin. It's of legends in Rome, they say. But yeah, Brendan Allen keeps it in the distance on the feet. I don't think Vettori will be able to take him down, but even if he does, I think Brendan Allen's transitions from the back or just submitting him off his back will, or at least threatening the submission in general, will get him better positioning. While I don't know if Brendan will be able to fully take down Vettori, Vettori's a stout boy, stout Roman. I think Allen just does whatever he needs to win. I lean more towards decision for Brendan for sure. Just for the fact Vettori's very hard to finish, but I think Allen has a good shot finishing him by submission, but sadly I'll be going for Brendan Allen. I'm sorry, Vettori. I actually will be rooting for you though. Yeah. Hope if we seen a Vettori KO, that'd be pretty good. That'd make up for a lot of misfortune on this card. yeah. Moving on to the next fight. I'm actually really excited for this fight. Kyler Phillips is super solid, and Oliveira looks good. The way he beat Saeed, especially a lot of these newer guys when they come into the UFC. I mean, I think he had 2 or 3 fights in the UFC before he got to fight Saeed. He's super fast, super powerful, and he seems to get better at controlling his cardio. And hopefully, in general, the cardio looks better. But Phillips, he's a solid grappler, solid striker. He's very, very well rounded. Not a bad fighter at all. A good fighter. But after seeing him lose to Rob Font like that, a not as physical striker, mainly pure boxer, and Rob Font. I just think Vincicius. I'm bad at names, but I think Oliveira will just outclass him on the feet. And I think his takedown defense will be there. And even if Kyler skims by a round, by octagon, by holding up against the fence or dragging him down, which I hope we don't see anybody being held against the fence like we did when Bonfim beat Thompson. Bonfim did not win that fight. Anyways, yeah, I think Oliveira, he's super powerful. I think Kyler's going to try to use range, but I think he's going to be too fast for him. We've seen that with Font. Font was a bit too fast for him. And Kyler, as well-rounded and as solid as a fighter he is, he's a little slow for bantamweight in these guys, and I think we have a good prospect in Oliveira that's going to be able to tee off on him. And I'm going to go Oliveira by decision or late round TKO. I think it'll be hard to get Phillips out of there, but yeah. Moving on, we got Michael Johnson and Daniel Zellhuber. Now, I thought a lot about this fight, and the odds are heavily in Zellhuber's favor. But I'm going to go with Michael Johnson. I think he's going to get a crafty old vet win here, guys. He's a classic marauder. You do not want to be there with this guy. Wow. What a marauder, huh? I wonder why. Anyways, yeah, I think he gets it done. Zellhuber seems to have issues with guys who cross into range and puts him on the back foot. He's not able to use his longer frame to really land effective striking, and Johnson's still got that old man power. He's been a staple in the lightweight division. And I still think Zellhuber, he just lacks a lot of things, a top 25 lightweight needs to be. I mean, I don't think we'll see much grappling in this fight, if any. Zellhuber has the basic, technique. He uses his frame well when he's not put on his back foot. And I think Michael Johnson's going to put him on the back foot and land a nasty overhand and knock him out at some point in this fight. I'm not for sure which round. Thinking later rounds, Zellhuber maybe wins the first one or two, and we see Michael Johnson just keep going forward. And I think he's going to be hard to put out of there. I don't think Zellhuber hits that hard whatsoever. And I think Michael Johnson, shout out Mighty Mouse, crosses the void and absolutely sleeps Daniel Zellhuber. That is my prediction for this fight. I think this should be a solid fight because I think Michael Johnson's going to march forward. Zellhuber is going to be able to land some strikes, that's for sure. But I don't think at any point Johnson will feel too much danger. And I think he's just going to keep pushing forward and he's going to knock him out with a nasty overhand. Moving on. Danny Ige and Bellator boy! Patricio Pitbull. Now again, we are going to learn why UFC is king. We will see Danny Ige beat Patricio Pitbull. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the knockout on the old fella, but Danny Ige has been, unless fighting like a top tier wrestler, which, I mean, did he fight Mofsar? He fought Mofsar. When he fought Mofsar, of course he's going to get takedown. But man, Ige has solid takedown defense. And Patricio may skim around on him, but Patricio just looked awful against Yair. And I think that version we've seen against Yair, I don't think we'll get any better than that. Honestly, he's older. Honestly, if we got him younger in the UFC, it may have been more interesting, but Bellator, boy. But, yeah, Danny Ige, I think he'll be too fast. Again, that's like the name of the game at this point in these matchups, except at the very tippity top. Who's faster? Who's faster, who's stronger? Like, Patricio's stronger, most likely. But I think Ige defends takedowns great. Um, Underrated grappling. He's a solid grappler. He's not a slouch on the ground by any means. UFC vet. And I think he's just going to outpoint him on the feet pretty easily. I think he has way more diverse combos than 1-2 Patricio Pitbull. The best you'll get out of Pitbull is a jab, feint, overhand. Ige mixes it up really well on the feet. He'll throw some calf kicks. He'll attack the body. And I think he'll just be too much for Pitbull at this point in his career. He's old. He's slow. Not as strong as you would like a guy like him to be at this point in his career. And I think Ige wins this pretty easily, honestly. Maybe Patricio gets a round or something, but honestly, I got Ige 30-27 in him pretty easily. He's got that reach right there. I think he'll establish the jab early. Probably get on his legs quick. By legs, I mean calf kicks. Whoa! Calf kicks, as Rogan likes to say. Moving on. We got Kevin Holland and Daniel Rodriguez. I hate this matchup. I think it's so stupid. Kevin Holland pisses me off more than any fighter in the UFC. It's absolutely ridiculous who he accepts to fight. Daniel Rodriguez, he's not horrible by any means, but I mean, you got a guy like Holland with some actual skill and aura. He has some aura in the cage. Actually, he has a decent bit of aura, as much as I like to hate on him. Hopefully he didn't bring the 45-70. In that case, better watch out. Anyways, I got Kevin Holland beating Rodriguez. I'm going to take Holland by submission in round one. I think Holland's going to come out a little wild because I think he knows this is going to be an easy win for him. D-Rod, not bad at all. Pressure's on the feet, solid boxing, but Holland's much more rangier, just better technically sound on the feet. He will use a lot more weapons than D-Rod, and I think Holland will come in with a lot of confidence, and I think that's the only reason he took this fight. And I'm going to take Holland by sub. I think maybe I think Holland will get a knockdown or something, do some weird roll and maybe catch him in a little Darce Nasty or something. That neck looks ready to choke, no diddy. But, Holland's just better everywhere, really, in my opinion. Maybe not, full-on, boxing pressure, but Holland, even if he's on his back foot against D-Rod, which I don't think he will be, he's going to be significantly faster. I think Holland has every path to victory in this fight, and I think it's, again, another uneven matchup. Anyways, moving on to the co-main event. I can't believe this is the co-main event. It's a good fight. Great fight. It's what dreams are made of, guys. Your co-main event. Paulo Secret Juice Costa and Roman Kopylov, Chase Hooper's father. This should not be a co-main event of any UFC pay-per-view. Let's say that right now. Dana, you're doing a horrible job, man. I was honestly a Dana meat rider for a while. I love to glaze him. Love to oil up that head. That bald head. Pause. Bald head. But nowadays, man, I can't even hardly talk about it. It makes me so angry what they've done to this sport. In fact, there's no advances in it. Anyways, that's besides the point. Different video to make. But, I'm going to go Paulo Costa. And here's why. Roman Kopylov is coming off kind of a fluke KO, some people like to say, of Chris Curtis. First of all, middleweight is so overrated. For a little bit, it was all right. It was pretty solid. But, I mean, you look at the top. I mean, Sean Strickland beat the number one contender. And we've had this conversation. Was Sean Strickland ever that good? DDP's great. DDP Shemaev's going to be a great fight. Caio Borralho, the fighting nerd. I hate you, Nina Drama. Quit lusting these young men. Anyways, yeah, I'm taking Paulo Costa. I think Costa's going to come into this fight confidently. And I guess this is a speculatory pick, and primarily because I think Costa's hilarious and I love rooting for the guy. I think we possibly get a vintage Costa performance here. I know this might sound crazy to say, but I think Costa has a better cast tank than Kopylov. I think Kopylov may be a little more crafty, but I think Costa's going to have a speed advantage, a physical advantage. And I think if he, at least at first, fights somewhat technical, especially boxing-wise, Kopylov's boxing defense is not that great in my opinion. He throws some interesting strikes, and he's a good striker, good kickboxer. But I think Costa is better. I think he's just better. I think we've seen that. I know he's lost a lot recently. And he didn't even look that bad against Whitaker. And Whitaker, you can never say bad things about Robert Whitaker. He's one of the few middleweights who's actually really good. And he's small for middleweight, too. That's the thing. He beats... Anyways, yeah, I think Costa... even if it goes to the ground, I like Costa better there, which I don't think it will. But I think Costa establishes somewhat of a jab. Starts chopping them tree trunks down. Anyways, yeah, I think Costa, he establishes some basic fundamentals at the beginning. I think he can wear him out. Maybe Kopylov takes round 1, but I think Costa can get to the second and third round. And honestly, I think he can outclass Kopylov, especially if he can land, which I think he will, land some real significant strikes, not just like on the stat, but significant strikes that Kopylov has to think about. With the guys he's fought, he really hasn't had to think about that too much. Chris Curtis doesn't hit hard at all. He almost lost against Max Griffin at welterweight. Yeah, and I was honestly gonna pick Kopylov until I seen that. I was like, gosh, dang. So yeah, I don't think Paulo Costa's losing to Chris Curtis in any other universe on this planet or any. Yeah. That sounded not good. Anyways, my autist is kicking in. Shout out Costa, fellow autist. Paulo Costa beats Chase Hooper's father. My favorite fighter of all time, Dustin The Diamond Poirier. In NOLA! Where the crawfish sing and the dirt sinks. New Orleans, Louisiana. Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway. While I think this is poor matchmaking, the UFC really didn't have any other options with Poirier to do. So at least we're going to for sure get a good fight against two of the best boxers in UFC history. This will not, to the point, I was going to say this will not go to the ground, but I'd like Dustin taking this to the ground at some point, or at least, threatening the takedown. He's not bad at all on the ground. Holloway's shown to have great takedown defense. But, maybe in those later rounds, if Holloway's, putting a little bit of a pace on him, breaking that rhythm up of Poirier, I think Poirier has a great option in going to the ground. Now, let's talk about Holloway. Holloway looked physically really good at 155 against Justin Gaethje, I thought. He had a bigger frame. This picture does not do him justice too much of how he looked inside the cage. Coming off that violent KO by our King Ilia Topuria, I think it's going to be a really good competitive fight. I don't think there will be a finish here, even though I'd love to see Dustin knock out Holloway in his retirement fight. Like I said, Dustin's been my favorite fighter since the Reebok era, for sure, when he got a little more notoriety, because I was like 11, so I didn't know him back too much in WEC days, even though I watched WEC when I was like 7, not a casual. Anyways, I think Poirier wins here, and this could be a heart over gut thing, because my gut's telling me Holloway, but my heart's telling me the Diamond! Dustin Poirier. I think he's going to win. And I think we've seen in that Topuria fight from Holloway, Holloway was able to win those earlier rounds, especially round 1. He was able to put the pace on him. But here's the thing. Dustin has fought more heavy hitting, more stronger physically guys at 155, and I don't think there's any world where Holloway knocks out Poirier. I don't think that's a possibility. And even if Holloway wins the first 2 rounds, I don't think Poirier is going to feel that damage too much. Holloway could out volume and just land some cleaner, slicker strikes on him early on. But I don't think Poirier is going to feel that damage whatsoever. Holloway, he attacks the body, but he always likes to attack it right outside of range. And I don't think they ever have that too much of a significance against the top level guys, at least that we've seen him fight. Hot take maybe. I think Poirier at 155, it's going to sound weird. I think he has better cardio. And here's why. While Holloway may have a better pace and may be still as quick in round 4 and 5 as he is in round 1 and 2, Poirier, cardio-wise, that damage I was talking about, he's going to be able to absorb the damage no problem, I think. Even, this is later in his career, he fought very well against Makhachev with 2 broken ribs. And he showed even his gas tank there with 2 broken ribs, and now everyone's saying, like, Poirier's gas tank, it's a little weary. He's getting a little old. He's going to have to be really crafty, But, I just think Dustin wins. I think after round 1 and 2, I think Dustin's going to find the range, and while Holloway is quick and stuff, he's going to go into the fire with Dustin, and I think we're going to see a little bit of that second fight with him, and I think Dustin's pop on his shots, I know everyone likes to say Max Holloway has a granite chin. Most definitely has a granite chin. But as soon as he fought Topuria, knocked out. Volk, great fighter, not crazy power. Yair, solid fighter, not crazy power. Arnold Allen, great fighter, not crazy power. These guys Holloway fights and out damage, and while he gets the damage put on him some, they're not powerful guys. They're just not. It's like, while there are a lot of 145ers that come up and do great at 155, I think in this specific matchup against Dustin Poirier, I think his power and his tenacity is just going to overwhelm Max in the 3rd and 4th and 5th round. I think Dustin does need to look for a finish more, especially if Holloway gets a lot of good volume and good solid strikes in those first 3 rounds. But I think Poirier is just going to be able to eat almost anything Holloway throws at him. I think Poirier will attack the legs. I know Holloway has good defense in every aspect, but the way Dustin mixes it up is very impressive for a guy like himself. I think his power is going to wear on him, and like we've seen with Topuria, Holloway won that first round for sure in my opinion. Second round was close, but you could just see the wearing. And I know Topuria, I'm not saying Poirier is as good as Topuria. Topuria is for sure better. Yeah, he's for sure better. He just is. Topuria is an animal. But I think we're going to kind of see that thing. I think we're going to kind of see the same thing happen, but it's just going to go into the later rounds. I think after round 2, we're going to see Poirier start to pour it on him and give everything that Holloway gives to him, he's going to give back. And I think Poirier is just going to wear on him with his power and physicality. And like I said, 4th, 5th round, mix in a takedown there. Even just to threaten it, but even if we can get some top control, we haven't seen Holloway on his back in a while. I think that could be interesting to see, especially at 155 with Poirier. Poirier's a big dude, man. And Holloway's not small at all, but Poirier, like, density-wise, is a bigger guy. I think we're going to see the legend himself, Dustin Poirier, go out with the gimmick BMF belt. I know it's a gimmick and it's stupid, but if anyone deserves it, it's Dustin Poirier. Rufus, Justin Gaethje got lucky with that head kick. KO in Salt Lake City. Maybe not lucky, but in a fight like that, that can happen. I don't think that proves that Gaethje's better all time or Gaethje's better skill-wise. Poirier for sure is, and if you think it's Gaethje, I think you're crazy, personally. But I think Dustin Poirier is going to wear on him, and I think Holloway's going to look good. He's not going to look bad at all. He's going to look good. Both of these guys, I think, are going to... Well, actually, no. I think Holloway's going to look good the entire fight. Dustin may look... People are going to be starting to count him out. He's old. He's a little slow. Can't keep up with the pace. But I think Poirier's one of those guys, besides when he's fought the Dagestanis, he's able to break these guys' rhythm, man. He is like an orthodox style boxer, But the way he throws and leads with that right hand, which is really his power hand, I think throws guys off like Holloway. I think it's a different defensive metric for Holloway to process inside the cage. Holloway's going to do his film and his studying up and his homework and blah, 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 blah. But I think Poirier's just going to out-grit him, man. Ate a mean bowl of grits. No, he'll eat some etouffee or some gumbo or something, you know. He's going to do that. I think we either see Poirier 3-2 win or a late stoppage for Poirier. I really do think this is going to be one of those fights that goes down in the books as like, this was a really phenomenal fight. Not only grit and just crazy back and forth exchanges, but technically wise too. I mean, these are two top 5, for sure top 10 boxers in UFC history. And I think it'll be a great fight. I'm very much looking forward to it, even though I'm very disappointed by this card as a whole. But I have no life, so I will be watching from the first to the last. Maybe a little bit of tequila. Not too much, though. But yeah, I think Dustin Poirier, I think Dustin's going to go out on a high note. We got Wheezy walking him out, Lil Wayne. That's going to be cool, even though Dana White said that would never happen. So I'm a little skeptical if that'll actually happen. But that'd be great if it did. Yeah, Holloway's great. I like Holloway too. I was pumped when he knocked out Gaethje. That was crazy, of course. But I just don't see Poirier letting off the gas like Gaethje did in that fight against Holloway. And I think Poirier's going to go out there and leave it all out there in the cage in this final run. And I think I'm going to cry either way. Because if he loses, I'm going to be sad. If he wins, I'm going to cry tears of joy and be sad he's retiring. Because he's a legend, man. So was Holloway, but Poirier means something to me, man. It means something. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Please comment how retarded I really was in this video. And let me know how I can do these better. And hopefully y'all will subscribe. And hopefully y'all will like the video. And hopefully y'all will watch the next videos to come. Thank you for watching. This is Cnol MMA. I just thought of the name. I forgot to name it. I still have to figure out how to make a thumbnail. But anyway, shout out MMA guru Lucas Tracy MMA for giving me a little kick in the nuts to make this channel and start posting this. And if you know me personally and you see this and you think it's cringe, I think it's cringe too. But hopefully one day it won't be cringe. Let's go.